Hi, everybody. Dan Ullman, Mike Beer. Taking a look at race number 10 at Kentucky Downs on Sunday. It's a $500,000 event at a mile on the turf for 2-year-olds. It's the Juvenile Fillies. Let's take a look at this big field. It's wide open. All these horses just bursting with potential, including our morning line favorite, the 10, Kodiak Wintergreen, who showed a lot of professionalism, rallying from off the pace to win her second lifetime start. Now she's got to stretch out.
Yeah, exactly. She's run twice so far, Dan, going short distances, and she ran really well, I thought, in both of those races. And she's got plenty of pedigree to handle this added distance as well. There's plenty to like about her. I don't think she's one of those horses where you look at and go, who wants a short price on her? I mean, I think she's a legitimate favorite in this race.
And there should be some speed with several horses stretching out in distance. As we see from our Timeform US pace projector, they are projecting a fast pace with the 8 Bella Hayes trying turf for the first time, expected to be up front. Personally, I think the number 4 Kanene is going to get to the lead.
I kind of looked at it the same way. I mean, I won't be surprised when the 8 is trying to make the lead here in her turf debut, but this 4 showed pretty good speed in her only stateside start, Dan. That was going 5 at Belmont. She's going longer here. I got to believe they're going to be looking for the lead with her.
I think the number 1 Sea Dancer is a very strong contender in this race, even though she'll enter as a maiden after 2 starts. She really improved second time out when she stretched her out around 2 turns at Saratoga. She was able to sit, I thought, a pretty good trip on the outside. She's going to move into second. It was a good performance, a nice step forward for a very underrated trainer, and it just looks like she's going to get the right pace setup from out of it.
Yeah, I can't argue with any of that stuff, Dan. When I looked at this filly, her career debut sprinting, to me that looked like nothing but a prep race to stretch her out for her second start. That's what she got here, and she ran really well. She just couldn't quite get up there. She was well clear of the rest of those in second. I thought that was a good performance. She's a contender here.
Like the 1 Sea Dancer, the 2 Fancy Looker was a sprint to route winner second time out. She graduated at Ellis Park going a mile and a 16th, showed much improved tactical speed, was very game to win. The race came back a bit slow.
Yeah, I wasn't blown away with that performance. I mean, I'll give her the credit she deserves for improving from start 1 to start 2 and for handling the added distance in there, but she worked really hard to get the job done, and it just wasn't a race that I was thrilled with overall.
In from Horseshoe, Indianapolis is a debut winner going a 2-turn 7.5. That's the 3 Kamikaze Umagi. And I thought she did some pretty good things in this race, Mike, because she kind of had to come from out of it. And as we see turning into the stretch, she still has a lot of work to do, but she shows enough moxie to get it done.
Yeah, she's going to wind up getting a clean run when it really counts in here, Dan, because I think the one thing that you have to take into consideration with this race is this pace was fast. They were really going in front of her in this race. She's going to split at the end of this race and win it, sort of heading away from these horses. But the race really set up for her. I mean, I'll give her credit for coming through between horses. She looked really professional, and she made a nice run, but she had a great setup in that race.
Kanane, the number 4, is very fast. A gate-to-wire winner back in May, very precocious, fast from the gate, looked good winning at Belmont. So good, in fact, that trainer Tom Worley decided to ship halfway across the world and run her in Royal Ascot, and that was probably a little bit too much too soon. She's back here. She has quality. I'm a little worried about the mile.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see about, whether she wants to stretch out right now after a bit of a layoff. I mean, I would just say, who knows if she'll get it? She has a lot of pedigree on the bottom, though, to be really good going a distance of ground. So we'll see if now's the right time. I think she's bred well enough to handle the distance. I liked her debut quite a bit. I don't really care about her second start. I just want to see what kind of price she is. She's not the kind of horse I want to bet at any kind of a short price, but I think she could win here.
Beautiful Dancer is likely going to be a big price simply because her buyer speed figures pale in comparison to those of the main contenders in this race. That being said, she has oodles of upside potential. What a beautiful pedigree. She's by gun runner. She showed a strong late rally last time out coming from the back of the pack. The one issue is she has no early speed, and maybe she'll get the right pace setup, but she better work out some kind of a trip.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we'll see if she can get herself more involved this time. She hasn't shown any speed in her first 2 starts, but maybe as time goes on, she'll learn a little bit and be able to keep herself a little bit more intact early with this field. She ran fine last time. It wasn't a particularly fast race. I thought she had to improve in here, but she's another one. She's got a little potential. She has that great pedigree you mentioned, really good connection. She's 20-1 on the morning line.
Austere is the number 6. Trainer Brendan Walsh is having a phenomenal 2023, and maybe he has a future star with Austere, who is a debut winner going 2 turns. Never easy. Did it at Ellis Park going a mile and a 16th, and had to overcome an outside post position. I thought she was a very comfortable winner.
I did too. I liked everything about her debut. I mean, it didn't come back a very fast race, but she broke from the far outside in there. They actually used her at first time through this race just to get forward. She got forward. She came to hand. She sat really nicely. She made another run off the turn, took that race over at the top of the stretch and went on with it. I mean, she did. It didn't come back very fast. She did a lot of good things first time out.
The 7 is Latte Lizzie, and this is a Chad Brown Irad Ortiz project. Has only run once, probably gained a lot of fitness and experience from her debut going 2 turns at Saratoga. An okay third.
Yeah, I mean, she was in that replay that we showed earlier with C Dancer, so anybody can just go back and pull it and watch it. This filly, I mean, she just had tons of trouble in that race, and it's hard to say, you know, how much closer she could have been. I mean, there's an argument to be made. She could have won that race, Dan, if she had gotten any kind of a trip in there. It just didn't really work out for her. And obviously, it's a good sign of confidence that Chad Brown elects to ship her here and run her for this kind of a purse in a stakes race. That's kind of the problem with her too, though, Dan, because off of that first running line, you know, for any other trainer, she probably wouldn't take that much money. But for Chad and Irad, she's going to get betting here.
Bella Hayes is the number 8, trying turf for the first time. She's got a little bit of turf pedigree. She's a granddaughter of Scat Daddy. This is the family of Point of Entry, I think that good Phipps turf family. And she looked good winning her second lifetime start sprinting at Ellis Park. She's going to show some speed. Distance is a question. It is notable to me that Joel Rosario's aboard.
I agree. It's just a wild card in this race. She's got speed stretching out here, switching surfaces, but you mentioned there's some pedigree on the bottom. These Flameaways have been pretty good on the turf so far, so it's not like this horse really isn't bred to handle the surface switch here, and she'll probably be a fair price in this race.
And the 9 is Mo Fox Given, debut winner at Colonial. Thought she was a little green that day, but also thought she did some good things, making an extended move into the teeth of the pace. She was also almost 50-1 that day.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, Dan. I mean, when you go back and pull the replay of that race, though, she didn't look like a 50-1 shot in there. I mean, she got a decent trip in there. She always looked like she was going to win, and she did win, and she won for fun, and she got a figure for that race, too. There's pedigree here for a good trainer. I don't know. Somehow she slipped through the cracks first time. I don't know how that happened.
Kodiak Winter Green, as Mike mentioned, has run well both times, both sprints in New York. Here's her win going 5.5. Second time out at Saratoga, and she had some work to do turning into the stretch, but she's not bothered at all by being over and behind horses. She's going to alter course to get into the clear, and at about the 8th pole, she starts kicking it in between and gets up late.
Yeah, I like the late run she puts in here. Once she gets in the clear, it takes her a couple of strides to level out, but she really levels out at the end of this race, and she's going to run up past these horses and then just keep going past the wire. I like that performance. She sort of ran a similar race in her debut, Dan. They sort of took her back. They put her behind horses. She was a little green in there, but she really ran at the end. She just kind of looks like a filly who is going to be okay with more distance, and if she improves stretching out, she's going to be tough in here.
Trainer Joe Sharp dangled the 11. Sweet Catherine Rose in for 50. Got away with it. Overcame a little bit of a slow start from the inside post, but going 5.5, she rallied from way out of it, and she was pulling away from that field. Something tells me that field wasn't great.
That was my issue with her, too. She was visually impressive winning. I feel like she might have been in against a pretty bad field, though. I really respect this trainer. He's going to ship her here and stretch her out for a very rich purse. So I respect that he's doing that. I think Joe Sharp knows what he's doing. I just didn't really want to bet her in here.
I think Shot Girl the 12 has to show some speed, stretching out from 4.5 furlongs to a mile and likely to be fresh after having not run since May. A debut winner over the synthetic surface at Presque Isle Downs, so there are a lot of questions she has to answer at a nice price, pace, distance, surface.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen, horses that, look almost impossible on paper at Kentucky Downs show up and just somehow run a big race and win. So I wouldn't hold it against anybody if they wanted to take a shot here. This horse did get bet first time out. She did win comfortably. She can probably run a little bit. She'll be a great price in here if you like her.
If there's a scratch, the 13 Old Fashioned Girl gets into the body of the race. She's a little bit tough to make off 3 losses, 2 against maiden claimers. Top pick time for race number 10. It's the Juvenile Fillies. I like that you're going with austere, well-connected, solid-looking debut. Good price on the line.
Yeah, just really liked her debut. I think it's even better than it looks on paper. I just wanted to take a shot with her at a price. I'm not against your horse, Dan. I think that horse is a deserving favorite.
Yeah, I think Kodiak Winter Green's the one to beat, although she has to prove it at a mile. I do think Sea Dancer's going to run well. I know she had kind of a decent trip compared to some of the other horses coming out of that race, but I like the progression as she stretched out in distance. And I think that experience, coupled with the potential of a fast pace, works to her advantage. 6-10-7-9 for Mike, 10-1-8-7 for me. It's the Juvenile Fillies, one of two $500,000 races for 2-year-olds at the Downs on Sunday. Good luck.